Well. How are you, ladies and gents, and all the lovely children of the world? Although I'm pretty sure there are no kids that watch this show. I'm not sure anybody watches this show, but for the few that do, I love how I narrowed it down just to children. I don't think humans, period, have viewed this show. I take that back. There's been a couple. I've had a few people say, "Hey, you guys got a fun show," so I'm not gonna trash on our own creation. We just got to build it up. Um, I got some good news that I probably should have disclosed to Vince before we even started the episode, but now I can talk about it in the episode. Uh, and that's the fact that I've actually got a few guests locked in for us. I kind of told you about one, but there's two others now that I've somewhat got locked in that are of the celebrity persuasion, shall I say? Um, and sorry, it ain't Jay-Z and Brad Pitt. We're not there quite yet.
Well, then we're not doing this. Then they're not allowed on the show.
I don't want them. Who wants Brad Pitt and Jay-Z on a small-time internet show that could boost us immediately to superstardom? Who would want that?
They don't say no to us. We say no to them.
That's right. We don't want no A-listers on our little show. We're not trying to make something big out of something small. We have low expectations, and the sooner you people realize that, the better.
Lowered expectations.
Little Mad TV. Mad TV. But yes, I got a couple people locked in, and we'll talk more about that probably in private before I don't want to start making announcements. And shit
God damn it!
Why
did you even bring it up? Why did you even bring it up? You're teasing me. You're teasing the two people who watch this show. I don't care for it.
Listen, it seems like it's locked in, but shit, people flake. I just don't want to make any definitive announcements, and then it's like, LAREN.
So just make a half-ass announcement. Like, we got people. Maybe.
Listen,
we'll see later.
I have lived my entire life giving half-ass. How do you think I've gotten this far? I have promised nothing to nobody ever. That's how I've made it. So
you give them a taste, and then that's it. Nothing else.
That's the only reason I have friends. That's the reason you're my friend. I've given you half-ass promises.
Yeah, you're about to lose this friend.
Oh no,
that's one less viewer too.
And that's one less viewer. You're right. But yes, folks. All joking aside, or not really, but yes. You know what it is. You know what this is. You know where you're at. You're on season 2, you guys. Season 2, episode. What is this? We're on episode
3,
4, I believe. 3. I think I almost lost track there for a minute. We're on episode 3. Yes, we are. And normally I would come up with a 3-something song or something. I don't know. I'll let you. Maybe you can think of something with 3 in it.
I don't know.
We are the 3. I already did that though. I did that last season.
Yeah.
I was going to do the 3 Amigos. So I can't do 3 Amigos again. So we'll just leave it at episode 3. How about that? Let's just leave it
good.
At episode 3. And you guys, with that being said, I am your host with the most. The Coke Zero drinking, only in his liquor, because other than that, it's gross. Rapping, 2-tapping, jet flying, as said by Rickolas Flair. That's not his Rickolas. I like that. That's what his full name is.
It's like Coke Zero. Less Rick.
Exactly. Rickolas Flair and the pie-eating, jabroni-beating, you know who says that, The Rock, Dwayne. Host with the most, your man, LAREN Max Star Moore.
And I am the highly regarded multi-hyphenate Vince EUSTACE.
And you guys, you have made it to episode 3, season 2 of Popcorn
and Booze.
Gurgle, 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 gurgle. I don't got any booze, but I got a red Solo cup. So you don't know what's in here, actually, Vince, do you?
Well, I think you just said there's no booze in there, so.
I did, but you don't know what else is in there. It could be a magic potion juice.
I think it's Coke Zero. I think he lied about how much you really liked it. You actually really do enjoy it without alcohol. You enjoy the taste.
Oh, no, that's disgusting. Although I heard it's good for your joints. I splash a little bit on my elbows when they get stiff. You ever put a little Coke Zero on your elbows?
It's Where are you getting your information?
Listen, it's like
I'm not doubting you. I'm saying I've never heard of this.
Listen, Vince, it's like Robitussin. When you get the aches and pains, you know what black people do? Chris Rock said it best. You put on Robitussin.
Yeah, but Robitussin, I get that's been around for years. Coke Zero is a fairly new drink. So is this like a new development or?
No, it was made by the Coke Zerotins of Illinois. You don't remember that family, the Coke Zerotins? They're famous.
Oh God! If you got the Coke Zerotins to be our celebrity guests on the show, I'm quitting.
I love the Coke Zerotins. And we're going to get the Coke Zerotins on the show. But for now, we have to do this episode. So, you guys, let's get right into it. Vince, what's our first segment here? A story that's got me very perturbed, a little bit bothered, but give us a quick lead in, and I'll give the details of the situation here.
Well, you went delving into the archives for this one. This is definitely not a news story. It's a little older, and you told me to watch this video. I was like, all right, I'll watch this video. And it was a video of a man getting shot. So I was like, Laren, what the hell? Why are you showing me this stuff? Face of the Dead DVDs went out a long time ago. I don't know why this is a story.
It was a snuff film.
But
I know you like snuff films. I know you love snuff films, so that's why I did
that. So apparently, you have to go more into detail, but from what I've gathered and what you've told me, there was a bail bonds woman and her son were, I guess, going to take some guy in, and there was not even a scuffle, just kind of like a, no, this isn't happening. Luckily, she did not, he was off camera when he got shot and killed. So that gruesome part, wasn't seen, but then the kid was like, oh my God, Mom, I can't believe you shot him. And she's like, call the police, call 911. So, what is this video you're sending me?
Listen, rarely. Okay, so to preface this, before I get into further details, I don't want to say rarely. There's actually quite a few videos of quite a few social media things that I see that really incense me or really evoke some type of what the fuck? Really? And this, for some reason, was one of them. And I think it's just because it's a 3-year-old story. It's been still making its rounds because of the outcome, because it updated a little bit. I think it updated all the way till 2019.
So very recent, 2019.
Kind of to 20, I think it was 2018 or 2019. But as far as her getting charged and all the aftermath stuff, it's leaked. It's been a 2-year battle. But the actual incident took place in 2017. But some videos I see, and I'm just I'm just appalled, and I was absolutely appalled by not only what happened in the video, but the outcome, the actual outcome of all this. It was just like, oh man. So as I laid in my bed watching this video, I was just like, I was literally doing that. I was just like, God, I want to say so much about this. Oh, wait, I forgot. I have my own show, so I'm going to talk about it. And I'm sure Vince might have an opinion on it too. It just bothered me that much. So I'm going to preface it with that, the time limit. So we're going to take you guys to, I believe the town was Oklahoma, the city, Oklahoma City, and the city was Stillwater, I believe. And from what I gathered, the first thing I saw was the video. And then I got as much information as I could out of the video from the narration, from the guy who is telling the story. And then I got into my, I need to investigate more about this, because I was like, in 3 years, I've never heard the story, and it really bugs me. So I went on the Google machine, the doggone Google machine. I went on the Google machine, and I delved deeper into it. And so the story goes as follows. Like you said, like Vince said, this lady was a bail bondsman, whatever you want to call it, I guess. If you want to keep it PC and take the misogyny out of it, we'll just call her a bail bondsman and just keep it neutral, gender neutral. Although, would you call that? Because it's still bail bondsman.
I don't know.
Person? We'll say person.
She works in bail bonds.
There you go. So we'll call her a bail bonds person.
Yeah.
She had a client that she, I'm not sure if our viewers know how bail and getting bailed out works. Basically, a company or a business, a bail bond business fronts money to you to get you out of jail, and you have to pay that back. If you don't pay that back, if you don't follow the rules once you're released, you go to jail, and then I believe they sue you for the money. So she put up, I think they said 30K, I believe was in the story, to get him out. His charges, I believe, it was a drug charge and a robbery charge. So I think he was looking at some time. So they get him out. He obviously owes this woman money. At some point while he's out, I don't know what type of relationship him and this woman had. I don't know if they were cool, they were friends. In the video, it seemed like they were buddies until whatever happened.
He was taking his shoes off in the office, so there was some level of comfort there.
And scratching his feet and doing all kinds of gross shit. I kept saying to myself, this motherfucker washes his hands before he touches anything. But yeah, he's doing all that shit. There's a level of comfort. And I'm saying to myself, well, maybe these motherfuckers are friends. Goddamn. So as I'm watching the video, and again, I did some more research. Again, I don't know the relationship with these two, but she was his bail's bonds person, and he was a person who was out on bail. So rightfully, she had to protect her interest. So this idiot, I will say on his part, he did something rather foolish, and I don't know why he felt this was a good idea to do this. But at some point while he was out, he texted her a simple text that said, "Gone to Florida." That's it. That's all he texted her. So apparently she sees that, and like any person, I would assume that is a bail bondsman or part of the courts or court of the criminal system, or a parole officer or probation officer. I think the first thing that came to her mind was, this guy's trying to jump bail. He's going to take off the money and jump bail and never be seen again. So this woman, instead of just letting the authorities handle it, instead of just figuring out some other type of method, she decided to want to take things into her complete own hands. Now, I believe she had already alerted the authorities, but she didn't wait for them. So she conjures up this ridiculous fucking idea to jam this guy up with the help of her son, her 19-year-old son. I can't remember the names. I can't remember the lady's name. I think the victim, his name was Brandon, and her son's name was Justin. I can't remember the woman's name.
Her name was like not Chastity, but like Chastity.
Something like that, yeah, Chastity, yeah.
But not Chastity, like Chastity or something. Like
Chastity,
the T and I were like switched.
No, I think you're right. I think it's Chastity. I know her son's name was Justin, who was 19, and the victim, quote unquote, his name was Brandon. He was 38 years old.
I think Brandon Williams, because it's the same name as one of our Baltimore Ravens.
Well, there you go. And he was 38 years old. Obviously, he's dead now, and we'll get to that in a minute. They conjure up this plan. She conjures up this plan to trap him because she thinks he's going to run. So she has her son call him and say, "Hey, I heard you have a Mustang for sale. I would like to buy it for, I think it was like $4,000, to entice him to come to the office because she was convinced that he was gonna leave town and not come." So he shows up to the office under the pretenses that her son wants to buy a car and that they're under some type of camaraderie. So he gets in the office and they're just, like you said, they're shooting the shit. Him and the son are chopping it up. You could tell from the beginning how nervous her son is, by the way. This is a 19-year-old kid. You could tell she literally, I don't want to say forced him into this, but I believe she basically coerced her own son into doing something he really wasn't comfortable with doing because he looked uncomfortable from the beginning. And him and the man there's some type of banter and they're going back and forth and he's joking with the kid. And in the middle of that, she stands up, closes the door, and latches it because she's now going to take him into custody because she's convinced that he's skipping town and hopping the bail. So immediately he kind of hops up, not violently. He's just thrown by what's happening. He's like, "Hey, what's going on? What are you doing?" And she's like, "Turn around, put your hands behind your back," and all this police tactics. Now, she's a bail bondsman. I have heard of bail bonds people having the right to detain you, having the right to be armed. She wasn't near none of that, as they say in the hood. She was near nutta. She was a simple bail bonds person. She was really supposed to not be doing any of that. She wasn't even supposed to. She should have waited. She was supposed to be waiting until the police got there. But she decided to take this into her own hands. And now she's got her son involved. And her son hops up, and her son's got handcuffs. And it's like you got your 19-year-old son pulling out handcuffs, trying to apprehend this grown-ass man who's bigger than both of them, by the way. So again, this Brandon fella, he's not attacking them. He's not being violent. He's basically saying, "Look, what is going on?" And she just keeps saying, "Turn around, put your hands behind your back." And he keeps asking her why. She keeps grabbing at him. He keeps kind of, pulling away from her. And then at one point, he runs to the other side of the room. Now the camera angle is from, I believe, her son's GoPro. They had set it up for whatever type of evidence for proof, which obviously ended up working against her, but maybe actually working for her. And we'll get to that in a minute. The outcome of this whole debacle. The guy on bail, Brandon, he runs to the other side of the room, and he's kind of off camera, but you could tell he's trying to go through a window, and he's just like, leave me alone, leave me alone. And he proceeds to hop out the window to the balcony. I don't know where he was going to go. From what I understand, they were a couple floors up, so I think maybe he was just going to jump. I don't know what that was all about, but it doesn't matter. He was running away. He goes out into the balcony, and just in a fit of rage and the fact that she felt he was going to get away, this woman reached into her desk, pulled out a pistol, and popped him one in the back. Shot him, which is something I'm pretty sure bail's bondsman is not supposed to be doing. Immediately, her son starts freaking out, and she's just like, yeah, he's like, oh my God, Mom, you shot him. And she's like, yeah, I did. Because in her mind, I guess she feels it was justified. And apparently the man dies. I think right before before anybody even got there to help him, he died, literally bled to death right there on the balcony. So she called the police. She turned herself in, and she gets to the police station, and she literally, from what I understand, tells some cockamamie story about how he jumped up. Somehow she said that he got a hold of the gun. She doesn't remember how he got a hold of the gun. Then she says, I don't remember how I got a hold of the gun. She says all she remembers was shooting him and him screaming, oh, fuck, you shot me. And I'm not saying that verbatim. I watched this, and then I read the results, and I was absolutely understand why she felt it was okay to do that. I have certain theories, which I'll get into in a minute after you say your part. But to me,
just go into it. We're kind of running long, so just go into your thing.
It's just it's so much. I mean, the basic outcome was she was acquitted. She was acquitted. She got off. There's so many reasons, and it was off a technicality because of what they charged her with. I guess they charged her with second degree or first degree murder, but all that's got to be premeditated. The jury felt it wasn't premeditated. They felt she just acted on impulse, which is still no excuse. The man is dead. You shoot somebody, there's a good chance you might kill them. Whether you're trying to go for a kill shot or not, it doesn't matter. She shot this man. He's dead. I think she had no purpose. She wasn't, and she admitted that she wasn't a licensed to carry bail's bonds person. She had no permit. She wasn't even, so basically this was her own private personal gun she kept in a desk, and she shot this man with, and got away with it. Would have been able to do that. I think if that had been a black woman, they would have buried her for shooting that white man. It's just so much, I don't want to get all the way into it. We've already hashed out the initial thing, but she got off. So I don't know why. I don't know how that's possible, but the woman is free, and now she's like a photographer. And somebody made a funny joke on YouTube saying, a photographer, they said I wouldn't trust this woman to point anything at me.
Yeah.
But real quick, before you move on, what's your opinion on this whole situation? I know you don't.
Yeah, I think there's very few, if any, times in life where you can shoot someone in the back, unless like they are causing harm to someone else at the time. But like it's the same thing. I mean, we hold police to higher standards, but the same thing we say about cops when the cops shoot someone in the back. It's like why are you shooting them in the back? They're running away. It's like, yeah, you're supposed to catch them, but like, why is shooting him? Like, what would have happened if she hadn't shot him? He would have jumped out the window and ran away or something. That sucks, but you can maybe find him again. But the killing him was the shooting him, obviously, completely, no pun intended, overkill.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Unacceptable. She had no right to be doing that. That wasn't her place to be doing that. The first thing she should have done was waited till the police got there. She should have waited. She shouldn't have tried to apprehend him. It wasn't her place to do that. Um, I, I kind of feel that because of the type of city it was in, it's a very podunk town, the South. I think she probably was gassed up. She probably has friends in the law enforcement in that area, and they probably told her, "Look, if anybody gets out of line, we got your back." And I think she probably took that type of knowledge stupidly and thought to herself, "Well, I have the right to do this." It was
It worked out
unacceptable.
for her.
Boy, did it, because nothing happened to her, and she lied. And that's the funny thing about that's what I think that's what incensed me the most. She blatantly lied to the police and then lied in court, and literally said that the the camera didn't depict the full story. The fucking thing was on the whole time. At no point was there any cuts or edits. The minute he walked in, the camera's filming all the way up till she shoots him. There's no, other than him running towards the window, there's no off-camera stuff. So what in the fuck is she talking about? The camera depicts her as a monster. It's not depicting the full story. I don't understand it. But again, I'm sorry. I think that's another classic case of white privilege. I think her southern white privilege got her off. I think the fact that possibly they felt sorry because she's a woman, but even more so a Caucasian woman. I don't feel anybody of any color would have gotten that right. And I think what she did was abhorrent. She had no right to do it. He didn't attack her. He didn't touch her. He didn't touch her son. He was trying to get away. Now, granted, he's probably wrong for running, but then again, that wasn't her place to be trying to apprehend him. So take it how you want it. We'll move on. I appreciate your opinion. I also appreciate the fact that I kind of threw the story at you because I was so fire and brimstone about it. I was like, I don't give a fuck what Vince says. Here, watch this. We're going to talk about it because I'm mad. But I couldn't believe it. Unacceptable. And the fact that she got off. Wow. Wow.
Crazy.
Don't know what to say about that, man. Crazy. But you guys, when you get a chance, check that story out. Just go to Google, type in Bales Bonds, person, man, whatever, shoots client, and you'll get the full details.
And then make sure you also Google, because it's also sort of around the same time frame in terms of relevance to our time right now, in terms of 2020. Archduke Franz Ferdinand being assassinated in 1914, starting World War One. That's a big story we should cover too.
Oh, cool. And then after that, we'll talk about the Titanic. All right. I see where you're going with that.
I'm just messing with you.
Next week, you guys, we'll be covering the Great Depression. All right.
Moses parting the seas.
All right, let's move along, my friend. What do we got?
All right. So, in terms of movies, not a lot going on, but Adam Sandler has new movie coming out on Netflix. Maybe it's already out, but for Halloween, it's called Halloween Hubie, I think. It's standard Adam Sandler fare, and I haven't seen it yet, but I probably will. I like Adam Sandler. But while doing press for this, people have kind of brought up little Easter eggs in this movie that have been in his other movies, like the fact that all of his sort of the leading ladies that he's always romantically involved with always have like a V name, sometimes double V. Vicky Valancourt, Veronica Vaughn.
You're referring to the new movie that he has on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
What's it called again?
I think it's like Hubie Halloween or Halloween Hubie.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's right. Okay.
So when they brought that up, they were kind of talking about like, oh yeah, some characters are kind of tied in from other stuff, and someone, hey, Marvel did a whole Marvel Cinematic Universe where all these characters tied in. Would you ever do a Adam Sandler one? And he kind of like was like, yeah, that's actually a cool idea. He made it sound like if you were to do it, it would be at least 35 years in the making, which I don't know if any of us are that patient. One, I don't think I think Adam Sandler wouldn't be the right age for these characters. They could always do little Nicky type of animated. I think that would be the way to do it.
The Water Boy.
Yeah, if you were to do, not Little Nicky. I said animated. The Hanukkah movie he did.
The 12 Crazy Nights.
That was literally animated. So they could always do that. As I mentioned, I don't watch a lot of the new Adam Sandler movies, but if I watch them, I enjoy them. They're like sort of like stupid fun. So I love the old Adam Sandler movies, like the Billy Madisons, the Happy Gilmores, the Water Boys. Like, so I would actually kind of be excited to see interconnected Sandlerverse. But I mean, I don't know. Are you a big Sandler fan? Would you want to see everyone interconnected, or are you just like, nah, just do your movies, get your paycheck, and put it on Netflix?
I don't know. I got mixed feelings about that. I love Adam Sandler. He's a talented, funny guy. He always has been since he was young, since he was on SNL. I actually met him. He was incredibly nice to me. What a class act. He was a conversationist. He was really warm, very sweet guy. I have nothing bad to say about him personally. I mean, I don't know him, but the actual personal interaction I had when I met him was incredible. He was such a sweet guy. As far as the whole multiverse thing he wants to do, it is a good idea, but like you mentioned, just age-wise, I don't know how that's going to be depicted on film. If we were to do live action, like you said, maybe CGI, animated, or
what if they
something of that.
recast
I mean,
it?
they could always
What if they took the characters and just recast them?
put other
Like,
people.
so Sandler's not playing Billy Madison. Like, you're getting someone else doing it.
Well,
Then
they did that. Remember, they did a whole SNL sketch where all the cast members of SNL were old Adam Sandler characters.
But I'm not saying like
I don't know if you remember.
They're not doing impressions of Adam Sandler. They're just like they get. I don't know. I don't even know who like a young actor is. Dylan, the kid from Teen Wolf. Like, what if they got him? I mean, I would probably.
I don't know.
Even
Who's
though
the kid from Teen Wolf?
Even though like there's some good actors out there, I would the new one,
I know
the serious one.
Yeah.
But I think if they were to like,
I only know one Teen Wolf, my friend.
I think if they were recasted, then I'm out. I'll be like, I kind of want Sandler to be the Sandler characters.
Well, they listen. They could. I mean, listen. You see this new technology they have, which isn't really new, but the whole face swapping technology they do. They did it with Samuel L. Jackson and Captain Marvel, made him look 25 years younger, which is funny because his face looks how he looked in '95. In like I think it was like Die Hard with a Vengeance. Like I haven't watched all the Captain Marvel, but if you see any clips with him when he plays the younger version of himself, of Nick Fury, he literally looks how he looked in like Jurassic Park. It's hilarious. But they did it with Will Smith and Gemini Man. They could easily make Adam Sandler look younger. They could just put the little face swapping technology CG. He could play fucking Billy Madison. He could do and all that silly shit that he does in that movie.
I feel like that would cost a lot of money, though. I feel like, like Gemini Man and like
he's worth a lot.
And Captain Marvel.
He can afford it.
But I feel like part of his appeal with studios is that he makes these like fairly inexpensive movies. Like basically, it's just like, oh, send us to like Barbados or some like thing. But for the most part, like the budget doesn't go towards like special effects. It's just like, oh, we're just gonna kind of like play around for 90 minutes or so.
Hey, listen, man. Adam Sandler ain't getting no younger, so maybe he wants to go out with a bang. Maybe this could be his retirement movie. He is in his 50s, which is still fairly young, but maybe this could be his the big one. Universal Pictures can helm it. They could fucking get all the rights, all the characters from other fucking production companies if they have the money to do so, and just give him one big fucking last fiasco film, and then maybe he could retire. I don't know. I'm not saying that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe this is it. Maybe he's like, you know what, this is going to be my retirement movie, and I'm going to bring back every character I've done the past fucking 25, 30 years. So I don't know. I definitely am interested in seeing something like that. I don't know if it could be exactly what he wants. And look, he's not the first to do that, to be honest with you. There's a little filmmaker by the name of Kevin Smith. He's been doing the multiverse thing since day one, although he's been doing it consecutively all the way up to this point. Adam Sandler is just doing it now. So maybe he should have took the Kevin Smith route.
And one thing that we're, I think, not taking into account is that, like, maybe when he finally does this, if he does live action, they would be aged appropriately. So it would be maybe not a movie with all of them, but, like, what if they're, like, side characters? So, like, what if the movie was based on these new characters, but then Billy Madison is running Madison hotels. Happy Gilmore is retired from like being a great golfer. The Water Boy is married to Vicky Valancourt. He's not playing football anymore, but they're older. They'd be like the same age that Sandler is at the time. Like that could possibly work. But like, what's he like 40? He's 40 something, right? Or is he at 50 already? You said he's already 50.
I think he's got to be in his 50s by now.
Yeah, and he was saying 35 years. He might be dead by then. I mean, he probably won't. I think he'll last a while, but like he'd be like you said, he'd be 80 something. Do we even want to see Adam Sandler movies when he's 80?
I don't want to see Adam Sandler movies in his 50s. Listen, I love Adam Sandler, but his track record the past 15 years, the last really good film that he did that I really enjoyed, that was just very vintage Sandler, was probably 50 First Dates, and that was 15 years ago. I love that movie. That's the last great film I thought Adam Sandler did with him and Drew Barrymore. Grown Ups was funny. It had funny moments. I appreciated some of those movies after that because it still had that Adam Sandler comedy, the farcy, outrageous physical comedy that he's known for doing in a lot of his films. Yard? But that was 15 years ago. There you go. Came out right around the same time 50 First Dates came out. So
it came out after.
A great film.
50 First Dates came out, and then I think Longest Yard came out.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I believe they were both the same year. Matter of fact, when I met Adam Sandler, he was telling me, I met Adam Sandler early 2005 working a security job for celebrities. And I was so young, and that was such a great job. I missed that job. I met everybody doing that job. We would do like red carpets and movie events and award shows. And we were doing the premiere of Spanglish. You remember that movie that he did with Penelope Cruz? So we were doing the premiere of that. And at the end of the night, me and one of my partners got to walk him to his limo. And he was just very conversive. And I remember asking him, I called him Mr. Sandler. I don't want to be rude. I was like, hey, even though I didn't have to, he was very personable. I was like, hey, what's the next movie you're working on? He was like, oh, yeah, I'm doing a movie called The Longest Yard. And I kind of knew what it was from the Burt Reynolds version, but I didn't. And I was just like, cool. So it was that time period was the last like soiree, I think, of movies that I really liked by him. And everything recent, I heard Uncut Gems was good.
I heard it was great.
I didn't watch it. I heard it was a great movie. I haven't seen it yet. So maybe I need to give that a chance before I start making assessments of how I feel about his current movies. But in this Halloween movie, I don't know. I'll check it out. But listen, more power to him. If he wants to do that, let him fucking do it. However he wants to do it. Like you said, I don't know if it's a good idea to start now and then build a process. I think he should maybe take all the characters from the past and just put them in one definitive movie and go out with a bang. And then leave it at that. Or at least like maybe do a trilogy. Do 3 movies with a multiverse of Sandler-verse characters and stuff like that. And then he needs to give the royalties and residuals and all the profits to Popcorn and Booze for helping him with this idea. All the proceeds goes. Oh, yo, yes, we did. No. Listen, don't you sell yourself short. I know what I did. I gave this man ideas. We want the proceeds and the profits go to Popcorn and Booze at gmail.com.
He's not doing it. He's definitely not doing that. All right.
Wishful thinking.
So
moving along.
Moving on. Kind of calling an audible here. Both these stories are kind of similar. Do you want to kind of combine them into like a 15-minute segment with Ice Cube and 50 Cent?
Yeah, we could do that, or we could just intertwine them together and just talk a little bit about a little bit, then a little bit about a little bit. So
basically,
let's do that. Before you do that, though, sir,
news.
And I was going to say, now that we're bringing into the hip hop segment, this is the point of the show where I got to give my shout outs. I got to pay homage. Listen, I wouldn't be who I am without the beginning, the blueprint of what we call hip hop. So, with that being said, I want to give a shout out to the ones who made it possible for us to even tell a story like this about 2 hip hop guys, DJ Kool Hercules and DJ Hollywood, the 2 men that started this whole thing. 1973, the Bronx. And then the Bronx started beefing with Queens. It was the Juice Crew versus Boogie Down Productions. And then Boogie Down Productions ultimately won that because the Bronx is where it started. Let's be honest, but it started in New York. So all you fakers, get out of here. You know where it started. So shout out to those two men. I wouldn't be the rapper I am today if it wasn't for those two men. And real quick, I wouldn't be the rapper I am today if it wasn't for the two men we're about to speak of as well, because they came before me. They paved the way before me as well, especially Ice Cube. So let's get into it.
So it's election season. Everything's very contentious in terms of Biden versus Trump, who's voting for who's going to be leading our nation. Celebrities are getting involved, giving their endorsements. Ice Cube kind of made a splash in the news when one of Trump's people thanked him on Twitter and was like, "Thank you, Ice Cube, for helping Trump on."
All right, you said Ice Cube made a splash in the news. I couldn't help but say that.
Gotcha.
You said Ice Cube made a splash when you drop an Ice Cube. And sorry,
no,
I can't let that slide.
No, I got it. You should have. Ice Cube apparently has been working on, I forget the name of the plan, but he's been working on a plan to help his community, the Black community. And he apparently went to both the Democrats and the Republicans to be like, "Hey, can you help out with this?" The Democrats were like, "Yes, we'd love to help out. Let's wait till after the election because we're kind of busy right now." And Republicans and Trump were like, "Yeah, we'll do it right now." And so because Ice Cube is working with Trump, the internet has like gone into a frenzy, and the right side is like, "Oh, Cube's endorsing Trump." The left side is like, "Cube's endorsing Trump." Cube's like, "I haven't endorsed anyone. I'm just trying to get my thing going." Then 50 Cent also made headlines right after that because he was looking at Joe Biden's tax plan, which has been, a lot of numbers have been fudged and yeah, sort of inaccurate at times. But the big thing is that the richer, which 50 Cent is, would get like taxed more. And so he saw it and was like, "This is what I'm going to be taxed." And he's like, "Forget this. I'm voting for Trump. You should all vote for Trump." Which then again, people are like, 50's voting for Trump. This is crazy. And then, of course, Trump people are like, "Yeah, 50 Cent, go shorty. It's your birthday." So these two hip hop titans are now kind of being aligned with the Trump campaign, whether they want it or not. There's talk that Ice Cube is really just trying to help his people and maybe is misguided on it.
Yeah.
50 Cent, he could be trolling. But I wanted to ask you, because I also noticed King Los, one of my favorite rappers on Twitter, has been very critical of Biden and Harris. And then when someone brings up something bad about Trump, he's like, "You're thinking you're being too emotional about this." So I don't know if it's a trend with like rappers trying to like go with Trump, and I don't want to put this on you as a rapper or a Black person, but yeah, Kanye as well. I don't want to put this on you and be the spokesperson for everyone, but like, are there?
Yeah.
Are we missing? Am I missing something in terms of like the Black community or rappers? Like, are a lot of them like secretly Trump supporters?
I mean, could be. I don't see how and why. Listen, I can only speak for obviously myself. I mean, whether it be through hip hop, personal, political, and I try to stay away from politics. I really do, or labeling myself a leftist or a rightist. I'm just a Black man who wants equality, and I'm by no means a Trump supporter at all, or anybody that supports Trump or that ideology or racism, any of that. I'm not for any of that right wing stuff. I just don't really label myself left per se. But as a Black man, yes, I want equality, and I want equal rights amongst LGBT and women and people of color. So obviously I lean on the left. I can only speak for myself. I don't know. There's nothing hip hop wise or personal wise that would ever make me endorse anything Trump is doing. Whether or not this is a trend, it seems like it. I don't know the situation with King Los. I'll have to look up on that. He's actually one of my favorite rappers. I think he's dope. I was actually listening to his Control remix the other day, so I'm definitely
such a good remix.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best. One of the best ones.
Kendrick said it was the best one.
Yeah. And then right after that, I probably have to give it to like Joel Ortiz. Joel Ortiz had a nasty one. There's a couple. But no, I like Los. I like his shit. I think he's a lyrical monster. I do. I didn't even know he was from Baltimore. I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that ever caught my
Baltimore.
radar. So it's about time you guys did something right with hip hop.
Yeah, that's actually
Anyway,
pretty accurate.
I'm just saying, call it out. Call it how I see it.
We're taking credit for DMX. DMX is ours.
Okay, well, I'll give you that. It's a little bit New York leaned and Yonkers, but I get what you're saying. I know that he claims Baltimore as well. Uh, okay. So as far as the Ice Cube thing, I think what's upsetting people, and I kind of agree with this, and I'm not against Ice Cube at all. Do I think Ice Cube's a Trump supporter? By no means. He could be secretly. I don't know. From what I see, it doesn't seem like he is.
I doubt it.
I think I highly doubt it. Especially being his age bracket. Oh, I mean, he's like 50. He's another man that's either pushing 50 or is in his 50s.
Yeah.
So he remembers some fairly, really fucked up times towards people of color, and he comes from a group that was strictly speaking up very very vigilantly and very aggressively towards the white system and white cops and fuck the police. So I'm
and
talking
he had
about
a song
NWA,
called "Arrest the President." It came out a couple years ago about Trump. Like it wasn't just any president; it was geared towards him.
Exactly. So that it's deep rooted in his black blood as a black man to already not like the white system or white supremacy. So I don't see why he would switch up all of a sudden at get older and be like, I'm going to switch up. I don't see after 30 years of doing this, I don't see why that would be a switch up. What I do think the problem is, I think people are just saying his timing just isn't good because by him trying to get some type of a political, I don't want to say endorsement, but political partnership with the Trump administration, it's coming off to people, Black Twitter, Black people of America, people of color. It's coming off that he's helping. He's going to literally be. He's now at this point kind of helping Trump get reelected and or stay in office for another 4 years. So I see people's concerns. I don't think that's the case. I think like you said, I think he's just trying to do. He can't do with the Democratic Party right now. So I think he feels if he just can do it with somebody, it's a step towards equality, or maybe taking the right wing party and telling them, look, let's work with some people of color, especially in hip hop, and maybe he's trying to mold them. Maybe it's like he's a mold. Maybe he's trying to diffuse them from within. I don't know. I don't know what it is. They said the same thing about Jay-Z when he joined up with the NFL and the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. They thought Jay-Z was a fucking sellout.
That's true.
I don't think that was the case. Now, when it comes to Kanye West, that's just some coonery. I'm sorry. there's no trying to come from within. No trying to, hey, maybe if I, as a black man, work with the Republican Party, I could change their views. Nothing. I don't think it's any of that. I think Kanye West is just delusionally has this ideology of you're not going to mold my way of thinking. I'm stubborn. I think with him it's just a bunch of stubborn bullshit, and he's sick of in his very. And listen, again, I don't want to make light of it because I firmly do believe, and it's been documented at this point, Kanye West does suffer from serious mental health issues. He's admitted it. So I don't want to make light of his mental health issues. But when it comes to that, mental health or not, Kanye is just he really him and Lil Wayne, they just really rub me the wrong way about how they just sell out black people when it comes to their views on that. And with Kanye, I think it's just straight up coonery. I don't think it's a business deal. I don't think he's trying to make a change. I think he's just like fuck Black America, not because fuck Black America. He's just saying you're not going to tell me what to do. If I have this free thinking, this is what he
exactly
thinks.
It.
It's just free thinking. I'm not saying fuck black people. I'm for black people. But you, as the black culture, are not going to keep me under the confines of being black. And I just want to be a free thinker. And I think that's Kanye's ideology. And I think it's very unhealthy.
And I think it's a pretentious way of thinking, too. Like the fact that, like, I'm a free thinker. And the whole, like, the terms about, like, you're still on the plantation. Is like you're putting yourself, like, higher than the rest of your community. And you're saying that you're smarter than them and you know better than they do. Like, you're just sheep. I'm an actual leader and a follower. And to be fair, on the other side, I hate it when like Kanye or Jason Whitlock, who I can't stand, is like considered like called in like Uncle Tom, especially by white people. That's like the worst. But Like I hate the idea that like, oh, I'm thinking this, so I'm better than you. Like I'm going against the grain, because a lot of times it's just to be edgy and to be different.
And also the Kanye West, it's also, oh, I'm just not gonna be the typical black folk. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be ahead of the pack. I'm not like you black people. I'm one of the smart black people. Like to him, it comes off as I'm, like you said, it is pretentious, but it does. It comes off as if he's trying to say, I'm classy black folks, so I'm open minded. You guys are
Yeah.
the black people that just won't fucking progress and understand that we have come a long way. And I don't disagree with that. We have come a long way, but it's not enough. And until it's complete, until there's complete equality, we're gonna fight the good fight. And Kanye West isn't. He's not a good representative of that. Neither is Lil Wayne. Uh, as far as 50 Cent, listen. 50 Cent's the ultimate fucking troll. He's another one that's been pretty pro-black in his lyrics over the past 20 years. I don't really see him being a Trump supporter. I think he just saw something he didn't like. He likes to troll. He uses social media as a platform to fuck with people. He does it all the time. I follow him on Instagram. Go to his Instagram, people. He is the biggest troller on the planet. He just fucks with people all day, every day. I think 50's just being a dick. I don't know. I think it's still unnecessary.
Like, I love his music. I don't
take none of that shit seriously.
But I don't take it seriously. He doesn't strike me as like a great human being. He's like you said, he's kind of a dick.
He's kind of an asshole. Yeah, he's kind of an asshole. I don't know him personally, but from his track record and the years and years of following this man through hip hop, buying his albums, I love his music. I don't think he's the greatest lyrically, and you know me, Vince. I'm cut from a very lyrical cloth. So if you ain't spitting them bars, I kind of don't hold you in a very high regard. But he's always made good music. He's always had a good flow. He's got a good voice. He knows how to ride the fuck out of a beat. But when it comes to this, it's a bunch of fucking nonsense. I don't believe anything 50 Cent is saying. He knows what this will cause. I'm not saying it's a good way to do it. There should be nothing geared towards supporting Trump used as a ploy to get social media hype, which is what he's doing. But I don't believe he really, is about that life.
I think Ja Rule it'd be clout chasing, but this is the time for him to support Biden publicly and then get people kind of back on his side.
Oh boy, continue the beef. I don't know. Is this to kind of end this off and ultimately answer your question? Trump, his administration, and his followers and supporters have caused so much of a divide and have caused so much of a rift and so much trouble and disingenuine just rhetoric and empty promises and prejudice and ignorant talk. They've done so much of that anybody black that even has anything slightly good to say about Trump, people are just black Twitter and black social media just all over them. And it is the responsibility of these rappers and these African Americans who supposedly support Trump. It is their responsibility, but I also believe it's Trump and his supporters and the rhetoric that they've been spewing, the venom that they've been spewing, that makes it easy for people to be like, huh? Wait, what? You said what about Trump? You like him? You're endorsing him? Ah, fuck you, canceled. Trump has caused that. He's caused a lot of that himself. To where black, he's done nothing, in my opinion, that has really been a really strong step forward towards equality. He really hasn't. And if you're black and you support him, you're immediately shot down because of him. If he had took a different route, if he had a better campaign, a better administration, maybe we wouldn't have to do all this and even talk about these subjects. I think Ice Cube means well, but then again, I'm not Ice Cube, nor am I part of his camp. So I guess we'll just see what happens. 50 Cent's being a dick. Kanye West is a coon. King Los, he better get it together. I don't know what's going on with him.
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it wrong, but it set off some red flags.
You could be, but if I see anything that leads towards him being a Trump supporter or anything, he's definitely going to lose a fan. He's going to lose a supporter of his music and his lyricism. So I just hope it's not as deep as what you're making it. I don't know, or what it seems. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Until then, go Shorty. Or should I say go Trumpy? It's your birthday.
Nope. We're moving on with the quickness. So
Oh
fast.
man, right?
We're getting into the wrestling. Finally.
Ooh, wrestling. You know, Vince, I remember a time on the show when I'd bring up a certain piece of footage and I'd talk about a certain woman who's no longer with us, and I'd talk about a wrestler who's still with us. He's very old and pretty worn out from the years and years of drugs and alcohol, but you know, he's still here. And a certain archaic piece of archived footage they did. You know anything about that? Anything? Anything spark? Hmm? Maybe a little bit? Maybe some sex? Maybe a little bit of sex? Maybe a little bit of tape? Not gonna answer?
No.
No sex? A little bit of X-Pac and a little bit of China? A little bit of WWE? WWF? Because that's what they were both a part of? Nothing. Okay.
I guess
I just thought maybe it would spark something.
This is probably better than the Go Trumpy birthday song. So beggars can't be choosers, and I have to take one of them.
Hey, what can I say? But what are we talking about today, sir, in wrestling?
So I feel wrestling right now, I think is really good. I feel like in terms of the draft shakeup, the in-ring quality that we're seeing both in WWE and AEW, besides like the other, you know, like Ring of Honors and New Japan, I think it's actually been really good. And I think with WWE particularly, because that's who you and I are marked for, I feel that the storylines are starting to come together. Obviously, there's going to be some bad stuff or some stuff that doesn't work or be wonky, but I feel like they're doing some good things, especially on SmackDown. We'll see what happens post-draft, which is why this is kind of so annoying. SmackDown has just been rolling along, just putting on great shows, and then they bring back Lars Sullivan, the man who is a racist, who's
the freak.
He's a homophobe. Yeah, they called him like the freak like 87 times during his match.
His finish maneuver, his finish is called a freak accident. So
that's actually cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually a cool name.
I know, but it just it is. But it harps on the whole. And Michael Cole, if he doesn't shut the fuck up saying freak, my God. Oh yeah, but continue.
So Lars is back, and I think it helps the WWE that there's no actual live crowd there, because they would boo him out of the building, which would, I guess, work because they would just make it like, oh, he's a heel. He's playing up the role. Yeah. He's being hated, but people are hating him because he has just this litany of just charges against him in terms of being racist, homophobic. It's coming out that he's like been sexually inappropriate with some people as well. And
on social media, yeah.
And it's just,
media.
It boggles the mind why he's still employed, why he keeps getting chance after chance.
Well, it's funny you say that, because the actual article, when you posted it for us to cover this, it kind of equates to your frustration. The name of the article is literally WWE needs to fire Lars Sullivan already. Like,
oh no, that wasn't the name of it. I wrote that. That was actually me who put that. That's my feelings on it.
And I figured that. I'm glad you clarified that, because I thought that at first, but I was like, maybe that was the name of the article.
Like, this is not a very professional publication. No, They're really biased here.
No. So it even equates even more to the way your feelings are being evoked right now about this man. So I think that's hilarious. Listen, I like the guy's look. I love his intensity. He's a very botchy, sloppy wrestler. I think he's kind of a bit hurty. I think he's hurt a few people, from what I heard. I don't know if that's a known thing, but there have been a couple sources that said he's a bit botchy. And when you look at his in-style ring performance, he needs work. He needs a lot of work. He's a great intensity wrestler. Like I said, he looks like a freak. He looks like a monster. His impact, although not as great, but it was the same kind of whole thing like what they do with Brock Lesnar. He comes in and just destroys fucking people and leaves. Or in the words of the newly heel Roman Reigns, wreck everyone and then leave.
Tribal Chief. Yes. Reign Gang.
I've always loved Roman Reigns, but I love him more even now. He's incredible. He's doing incredible work right now. But back to Lars. I can only attest them dealing with him to the fact that Vince just creams his pants over big, hairy, muscle-bound guys like him, because that's just that. He looks like George the Animal. He looks like them old, crazy-looking freak wrestlers of back in the day, the Bruno Sammartino, the big muscle guys who were just ripping fucking turnbuckles pads off the thing, off the post, and I think that's just Vince. That's Vince's shit, dude. It's always been Vince's shit. And in his 70s, Vince is still creaming his fucking pants over big men wrestlers. And not just big men wrestlers, muscle-bound big men, freakish-looking wrestlers like
The
Lars Sullivan.
powerhouses, yeah.
The powerhouses, the ugly motherfuckers. Like, Lars Sullivan is not and I don't judge men, but he's not an attractive guy at all. He's a pretty ugly, he's a freakish-looking dude. Especially when he has that wide-eyed look, and he's got those piercing fucking green eyes or whatever color his eyes are, and he does his mouth a certain way, like he's just gnarling, and he's kind of hairy, so he looks like Beast from X-Men. So I get it. But when you've got a list of allegations and a list of, even some of it I'm pretty sure is factual, when you've got a list of things negatively just hanging over your head like that, I think timing is everything, and I really don't think this is a good time for him to be.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of heat on him too in the locker room.
He's got way too much heat.
And I think we talked about this. Like, he does have probably like some stuff going on in his head.
Yeah, mental health. Yeah.
So, but that, again, like, why would you want to shove someone out onto like the biggest stage? Everyone on Twitter is just completely dunking on you and being like, "Stop! Like, we don't want this dude." That's not helping him.
Yeah. No, it's not, and it does. It equates to my point. It's just the timing is horrible right now, and like you said, the number one thing that's saving him from being booed out of the building, and I mean genuine heat booing, not just he's a heel, which is what they, like you said, they would pot it off to. He's getting that good heel heat. No, he's not. They really don't like him. Is the COVID situation we're in. I think with him not having crowds, and the crowds that are there are virtual. They can manipulate boos, they can manipulate cheers, and or tell the people who are registering to watch via Zoom or whatever they're, to the virtual audience, they could tell them, hey, we need you to, have fun, cheer for this person. I'm sure they tell even some of the people, they prompt them. There's probably like a little teleprompter thing on their screen that's like cheer, cheer, cheer. And because we live in a very sheepish generation now, for the sake of fun, people will do it. But that's virtual. Live crowds, they've tried. There's no manipulating an actual live crowd. So I think Lars would get booed out of the building. But like, when you got that shit hanging over your head, it's not good. It's not good. And until they clear this up and let some time go by to where people could be like, okay, well, that was a thing of the past, or maybe there's some apologies made, or these allegations are found to not be true, this isn't a good time for Lars Sullivan. And here's the problem. You made a point of saying this. They always, even when there's controversy, Vince just always from 0 to 60, he just loves to just throw people into that main event. He did it with Roman, and I don't think Roman was ready at the time. And that was one of Roman's downfalls originally. He's obviously recuperated. Took fucking 6 years. It took 6 years, a leukemia scare, him going into remission, and then turning heel, and then COVID, for people to finally be like, we love Roman Reigns, But when you harp on somebody who isn't ready, another thing, he was supposed to debut like 2-3 years ago, and he didn't, because apparently, and I believe that was a mental health issue. Apparently, he suffered from horrible anxiety. He wasn't ready to go out there, and this is when they still had live crowds, so they had to hold him off because he just was like, he wasn't ready. But even though that is a mental health issue, like you said, it still harps on the fact that he isn't ready. And now here we are 2-3 years later. His anxiety might be under control, but he's still got a list of fucking troubles that are just pending. I would think that's a bad PR nightmare for the WWE.
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't see him lasting.
I think
too much longer.
No. Eventually, Vince is going to look past creaming his pants over the fact that Lars Sullivan has a great look, and be like, you know what, my company and my livelihood is more important. We have to get rid of this guy.
Yeah, it's all about money. And like, once his buy rates aren't doing anything, his merch isn't selling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think also us on Twitter, if we were just kind of like on social media being like, no, we want nothing to do with them, they'll eventually listen at some point. I don't see this guy having like a long story WWE career, but I could be wrong.
And I don't either, but they might surprise us. They might just overlook it. They might just let it linger. I'm going to bring it up. We are a socially conscious show, and as a person of color, I do have to, again, might be considered a reach. I don't care. I speak it how I feel it on my show, and this is the climate. I believe his white skin also is helping him quite a lot. I just do not believe they would deal with that shit with a person of color. I believe if a big beast black dude, somebody like Mark Henry when he was younger, thank God he didn't have any issues like that we know of. I mean, obviously not. They kept him around for 25 years. If I believe if somebody, a person of color that they brought in as this beast wrestler and he had all this shit, they'd be like, we sorry. I don't think we can work with you right now. But with Lars Sullivan, it seems to be okay. It seems to be okay. So I think that has to do with it too. A little bit of white privilege in there. But ultimately, I do think it's his look. It's Vince. He loves the big men. He loves those big burly fucking guys, and he wants this guy to fucking be the next Brock Lesnar. And speaking of which,
I think real quick before we switch to that, I want to touch on your white privilege and add a little bit of white mediocrity. Because I think some people might watch and be like, oh, well, what about Velveteen Dream? He's also had a bunch of allegations, but he's still employed with the company. But to that, I would say that really plays into white mediocrity, because Lars Sullivan is the definition of mediocre. And Velveteen Dream is being kept on for now, although I'm not watching NXT, so I'm not sure he's really on there or not. But
he has charisma.
The reason why he's being kept on there is because he's so talented.
He's entertaining.
And I'm not saying he should. They should let him go. If those allegations are true, they should get rid of him. But the reason why he's kept around as well is because he's like the best. He's charismatic. He's great in the ring. He's all these things. If Velveteen Dream had these allegations against him and was the talent level of Lars Sullivan, he'd be gone. He'd be gone.
Also, to agree with your point, you're absolutely right. You know what else is helping Velveteen Dream? His gimmick is very LGBTQ friendly. That's another thing that's helping him too, I believe. He's got the LGBT community kind of on his side a little bit, and WWE's kind of looking at that like, oh, we get rid of a person of color, and he kind of represents the LG. They're really thinking, oh shit, like we have to be careful.
To be fair, I think the LGBT community loses support for him once allegations of underage minors like get involved.
Absolutely. I don't mean they're necessarily. It's the actual community. It's just the general gimmick is LGBTQ friendly, and I think they still think that would be a problem if we were to get rid of a person of color who also has a gimmick that is LGBTQ friendly. Now, as far as the underage stuff, no, they're nobody's riding with that. I don't care what community you're a part of, unless you're a pedophile yourself. The pedophile community, they love it.
Community is like, you're all
they love it. Right now, R. Kelly is like, my mind's telling me no, but Velveteen, you the man. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, he's loving it. But
we're definitely going.
No, you're right. I know we are. I already got a first class ticket there. I got that years ago. But you are right. It's white mediocrity. It's the fact that Velveteen's very charismatic. He's got they're getting and that to me is a sign of kind of, I don't want to say racism, but a sign of kind of prejudice against too, because it's the whole. To me, it brings back the whole ideology of the black man is. We only got him around because he's talented. He's entertaining. Monkey dance is that kind of.
You have to work that much harder, being like twice or 10 times as good in order to get the same level.
You have to really be the most talented motherfucker as a person of color to even get that type of push. So I think it's the whole monkey dance. The black man's making money for us, so we'll overlook it. So there's still a certain sense of prejudice there. But you're right. If he was not, and I'm not agreeing with the fact that they are keeping him around. If those allegations are true, they should get rid of him. He should be canceled. There should be anything involving rape or pedophilia, or obviously racism or anything of those levels. You gotta go. You gotta get the fuck out of there. But as far as Lars goes, I don't think it's good timing right now. He's got a great look, but this isn't the time right now. This isn't the time. So They need to probably go ahead and because all they're going to do all they're going to do is shelve him again, and shelving is not I don't think that's enough. They need to kind of take him out of the equation. Period. They can always find another big man wrestler that looks like Lars Sullivan. They really can.
Another powerhouse.
Oh, but
speaking of powerhouses,
just like that.
Yes, because you said Vince has been very big on the big powerhouse guys. Obviously, the bigger, more muscular, explosive that you are, like Vince sees dollar signs. That like this could be a marquee guy. Let's talk a little bit about the powerhouses in WWE history, and also is a powerhouse a big man and vice versa? Like, would a Undertaker or Big Show be a powerhouse? Or like, because like Biggie, I consider a powerhouse, but I don't consider him to be like a big. I guess they call him big man. It's very strange. Like, I think you have to be a certain height to be a certain.
I think it's a certain height. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
and
about.
It's also
yeah.
It's also moveset. Like if you're kind of slow and lumbering, I don't know, you're more a big man. But if you're a powerhouse, like you're hitting like devastating spine busters and clotheslines like crazy.
And like we made a point earlier, I don't want to body shame or do any of that. I'm not about that. I'm a fairly big guy myself. So without like body shaming or anything, but let's talk about even the guys who have a lot of weight, who are some plump size, some big size guys. As far as like the Bastion Boogers, the Vaders, the Bam Bam Bigelows, even Kevin Owens, the chunky guys, would they be considered big men or powerhouses? Like, I think there's different categories. I think there's, because they always consider people like Bam Bam. Bam Bam was a big guy. He was a pretty chunky fellow. He was a thick one.
So I would consider Keith Lee to be a powerhouse, but Kevin Owens, and I think it goes down to moveset. Kevin Owens doesn't really like the pop-up powerbomb is kind of a power move, but everything else he does, he's doing like flips off the top. He's doing stunners. He's
very athletic.
Yeah. So that's not. I don't consider him to be. The Rock was a big dude, but I don't consider him to be a powerhouse wrestler because he wrestled kind of like a smaller guy.
Now he would be. He's so cut now. I think if The Rock were to debut now, he would definitely be considered like a one of the powerhouse guys. But to go back to what we originally were starting the segment off with, we're kind of referring more to like the Brock Lesnar's, the Lars Sullivan,
the Batistas,
the Ezekiel Jacksons, the Bobby Lashley. We didn't even talk about Bobby Lashley.
Oh, Bobby Lashley
he's
is
another
killing it. I don't know if you saw Raw this past week when they did like the Hurt Business versus Retribution.
He's Retribution. Yeah,
they are making Bobby Lashley look incredible, and I love it.
And they're putting him over, and again, I know what it is. It's got to be because they're trying to lead up to him taking out Brock, and kind of doing a Goldberg thing with him where he just fucking squashes Brock in like 30 seconds. Which at this point,
he's looking like he could. Yeah, he looks like he can.
Yeah, but he's another one. He's a powerhouse. Who else? As far as muscly powerhouse guys, there was a guy. I don't know if you remember Nathan Jones.
Oh,
he's from Australia.
Absolutely. I remember him and Jackie Chan's first strike.
Nathan James.
He had a fight with Jackie Chan.
He was considered a powerhouse. He came in. He didn't last very long, but he was considered a big
he was
man.
A house. He was definitely a house.
Muscular.
I don't know if there was much power there.
But was he the house AJ Styles built, though? Is the question.
If so, then AJ needs to have his architecture license revoked because that was not a house anyone should occupy.
His contractor is fired. Cancel our AJ Styles contractor. Those were just to name a few, man. Who out of all those names we named, and there might be a few more you thought of, you could think of. Other than like the more obvious ones like Brock Lesnar, let's talk about the underdog powerhouse guys that really didn't really make it quite like a Brock Lesnar. Who out of some of those names, even other big man wrestlers, who were some of your favorites? Like I personally, I obviously I'm not really a fan, but I really do appreciate Brock Lesnar. I always have. Because he's a marquee. He makes the product very interesting. He really does. They spoil the absolute fuck out of him and put him over every chance they get. But it's because he makes so much money for that company. So I appreciate Brock Lesnar. I'm not really a fan, but I really appreciate Brock Lesnar. Even that Chris Masterson guy, he used to do the Master Lock. Some of these guys look really good. Who are some of your favorites that weren't so much the big marquee names?
I feel like they would be the. I'm not sure I have any that I enjoy. I can think
The
of a lot that I
underdogs.
didn't like.
Yeah.
Like a Gene Snitsky that I did
Oh,
not care for.
well, you said Nathan Jones. You didn't like Nathan Jones.
I didn't like Nathan Jones. I feel. Oh God. Oh. What was his name? Sean O'Hare. He was
I
kind
remember
of a
Sean
mixture of
Hey, from
powerhouse, but
WCW.
also high flying. He had that devil's advocate thing. I thought he had a really cool finisher that like sort of it was like the FU attitude adjustment, but flipped the other way, so it kind of turns like a spine buster type. I know he has some demons. He got released, and unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But he was someone that's like, oh, this could have been like a big. He had enough charisma, and like he wasn't like overflowing with charisma, but like he had enough that he could have been someone. He's the only one I can think of because I think everyone else who's big as a powerhouse kind of made it. Like I loved Batista early on, like when he was Deacon Batista, even though that was a shitty gimmick. I remember he had a tag team match where he went against Orton, and Orton like clotheslined him. This is like young babyface Orton. Orton clotheslined him, and he just went back and then came back, hit him with like the hardest clothesline, and Orton sold it like crazy because Orton's just always been that good. But then he debuted his spine buster where he threw Orton against the ropes and he lifted him straight up in the air, almost like, remember when Farouk did the spine buster where he would like just lift you almost like a choke slam and then just throw you right to the ground?
Best.
One
of the best
he put busters. Orton in the first spine buster he did was on Orton, and he lifted Orton so high in the air and then just finished like he always does, where he just like both knees to the ground and then just pops right back up and is just like he looked incredible, just like and the crowd just like ate it up. The crowd was like, oh my god, what the like Randy Orton might be dead. So obviously Batista's become a much bigger star in WWE. He's become a big star in Hollywood.
He got over.
But I would say that
him and Brock Lesnar are probably the top two as far as like who really got over, who really shot to the moon as far as stars in the WWE.
Who else? There was like Luther Reigns was okay. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Here's another one we're not even talking about. He wasn't originally in the company if we're talking about wrestling as a whole, we got to talk about Goldberg. One of the best big men, like strong man wrestlers.
Goldberg was a powerhouse, and he eventually did become WWE. He was like the definition of powerhouse. He just tore through everyone.
He was the man.
Dude. He's like what, like probably he's only like 6'2", so only a couple inches taller than us, but he was like huge.
And he's still kind of cut. You know, he's weathered now because he's older. But no,
he's not a big man, but he's a powerhouse.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely a powerhouse. Ryback, remember Ryback? Feed me more, Mister. He was Mr. Muscle Bound powerhouse. He was a bocce. But he CM Punk has a lot of interesting things to say about. Maybe not now, but years ago, at least 5 years ago, CM Punk had some very interesting things to say about Ryback and how botchy and hurty he was in the ring, and that he absolutely hated the program that he had with Ryback back in 2013. They had that program, and I think it leaked into 2014. 2012. It was 2012, and it leaked into 2013. He said he just had that awful run with Ryback, who just kicked him, broke his ribs. He went to press slam him through the table, missed the table. CM Punk hit the floor. CM Punk he fucking thinks his run with Ryback was miserable. But Ryback was another one.
Time. Yeah.
But Ryback was another one. He had a great look.
Ryback was pretty good too. I mean, besides the hurting people, but like he did all right.
He looked great, man. Not one of my favorites, but listen, there was a lot of them. But if you're going to talk about the epitome of big guy wrestlers who they just constantly give the fucking world to, it's obviously Brock Lesnar is the epitome of that. He came in. I don't know if you remember his debut when he came in.
Oh, absolutely.
Out of was it? I was going to say Spike Dudley, and I think Al Snow.
Maven was the first F5 that he ever did.
And then he destroyed Al Snow.
What I wanted him to do, that spine buster on the trash can. What I wanted him to do with Spike, because I saw it in the No Mercy video game, and I know Lesnar could have done it. When he was power bombing Spike, he did the double power bombs. I feel like on the third one, he should have then flipped him into the fireman's carry into the F5.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't
and
here I am giving notes to Brock Lesnar on his debut, which is arguably one of the best debuts of all time. It got their attention like that.
Oh, it was amazing. One of the best. Yeah, it was 2002. I fairly remember watching that. I think it was a
day after WrestleMania. It was Raw. Day after WrestleMania.
It was Raw. And I remember in 2002 watching that as a teenager and being like, man, he fucked him up. Like this guy.
But I heard stories about Lesnar before he debuted, like that he could German suplex two wrestlers at the same time, like one here, and both give him German suplexes. I heard that he
hasn't
could
done
do
that in a while.
No. He used to do it on the Hardys when he first came in. He did it on Matt and Jeff.
Yeah.
He could do the shooting star press. I remember seeing an old video of OVW where he did it. Then, of course, he tried to do it at WrestleMania and Angle was too far out. He almost broke his neck, which is weird because, like, I think that would have been really cool had he hit that. But he doesn't need that in his repertoire.
No, he doesn't. He admits that he had no business doing that, even though I can't remember who he said it was, but somebody gassed him up to do it because he hadn't done it in a while. He hadn't done it, I think, since OVW. And they were like, dude, this is a main event. You're a big man wrestler. You're muscle bound. We want to see what you can fucking do. And it might have been Michael Hayes. Somebody from management during that time was like, you should do it. And he admits he had no business doing that because he
used to hit it clean in OVW. Like, and he didn't even do it like on their shows. It was just like some random show he did it. But man, there is a video of him doing it like sort of some dark match or something. And I mean, it was better than Billy Kidman's. Kidman always kind of went off to the side. This was clean. It was like full rotation. It was like completely straight. It was textbook.
It was, and I think I've seen that same footage, and it was like you said, he almost killed himself. But then he was another one, kind of like Lars Sullivan, who was pushed to the moon way too fast. And I believe he's admitted this. He suffered from like anxiety issues. He wasn't ready for that. He wasn't trying to be a star. He's a farm boy. He's a farm boy from Minnesota. He wasn't really trying to really go that path. And Vince was like, "No, you're a powerhouse. You got to do it." And he ultimately left.
But it still worked. That the 2 years he was there, he put together. Yeah. Had he never come back to WWE, he would still be a Hall of Famer based on just those 2 years.
I agree. And he came back, and boy, when he came back, you want to talk about one hell of a resurgence. And still to this day, even though with him not really being a part-timer and not being around, his second half of his career, which is when he came back in 2012 up to this point, is definitely Hall of Fame worthy. He is just, the 2 years, like you mentioned, of his debut was great. His resurgence has been awesome. They have shot this man to the moon. He has beaten everybody. And he's a little bit older. He's in his 40s now, and he's still, he can't do shooting star presses and double German suplexes anymore. But, Brock can still go. And he actually put on a very impressive performance in the Royal Rumble early this year. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. That was great.
He did a good job. For a person
I was mad in the beginning.
Older,
I was mad that he was killing everyone, but it was all building up to Drew McIntyre hitting him. I was like, all right, this worked. Because at first I was so pissed off. Like, MVP came back and he's jobbing out. Like, Kofi's coming out, jobbing out. Like, but it worked.
And the Kofi thing pissed off everybody more than anything because there was rumors that this is where Kofi was going to get his revenge. Kofi still ain't got his damn. Kofi has still not gotten. I mean, they're pushing Big E now. And speaking of which,
Kofi never will. Like the way his character is, he's going to be like, "Hey, it's fun. I'm tag team. This is what I like to do."
And real quick, honorable mention before we end off the segment. It has been very emotional these past few weeks because of the New Day kind of temporary splitting up. I don't know if you saw the video of the three of them doing an interview, and all three of them were just in tears. They just kept getting choked up, and it was just so hard to watch. And I remember watching it, I was just like, "Fuck, dude! Like these guys really have done something special to the point now a lot of podcasters, a lot of wrestling blogs and sites are citing the New Day as the greatest tag team of all time, like all time. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
I'm 100% my vote.
I'm okay with that. They've had the most reigns. They've had the longest reigns. All three of them can work. They're not shitty wrestlers. They all can move. They're all great on the mic. They've got the total
They're so
package. And
entertaining.
even though
They're so funny.
they're
But
incredibly
can they be
entertaining,
serious when they need to be?
absolutely. And even though their whole shtick is very gimmicky, it always has been. The pancakes, the fucking unicorns. Who cares? They are Hall of Fame worthy. And if somebody were to stamp that and say greatest tag team of all time, I would not argue with that. So that was just a little honorable mention. Listen, to end this off with big man wrestlers and the Lars Sullivan situation, it should be like this. I'm going to start juicing. I'm going to grow 90 pounds of muscle, all in my ass. I'm going to sign a contract with WWE, Vince, and I'm going to be muscle-bound ass man. That's my debut. I'm going to walk in and beat the shit out of everybody with my ass. I'm just going to knock everybody. I'm going to have a big, oddly muscly, 90-pound muscly ass, and I'm going to be power bombing people with my cheeks. I'm going to grab them like something you would see in Ren and Stimpy back when I was a kid, and grab them with my buttocks, flip them up in the air, and power bomb each of them. And I'm going to be muscle-bound ass man, and Vince is going to make so much money off of me, Vince. So that's how we're going to do. Yeah,
so then when you do that, I'm going to do this. Click, turn the TV off, and then go on Twitter. This sucks. Never watching wrestling again.
What are you talking about? You're going to be my manager.
Sorry. What am I saying? I'm not a hater.
Listen,
I'm a hater. I was just messing around.
If you're getting a check out of this, you're down for the cause, my friend. There's a check involved.
So what was your name again? It was going to be
Muscle Bound Ass Man. They've already got a Mr. Ass. I can't be Mr. Ass. Billy Gunn already did that. So I got to be Muscle Bound Ass Man.
I guess that would make me. Where is his ass man? Why does his back go all the way to his legs, man?
And for a nominal fee, you get the pleasure of oiling up my ass every episode of Raw and SmackDown. Yeah.
We have to renegotiate this contract. I'm not so sure about that.
Well, haters will hate, even for a check.
I was hating earlier. I was definitely hating on the turning off the TV and hating online, but
haters gonna hate.
I feel
ballers gonna ball.
I feel
I'm gonna be muscle bound ass man. We're gonna ball.
Is really
we're gonna make so much money.
It's like a sexual misconduct. Sort of suit waiting to happen.
You're gonna rub my cheeks.
Because I know
you're gonna rub my cheeks. My muscular cheeks.
Did not consent.
My muscular cheeks. Look at that.
No.
Look at that.
No,
cheeks gonna look like a muscle. You're gonna rub it, oil it down. Oil it down.
Gone way too far.
Oil it down. And folks, with that being said, you have entered the Maxi Zone. The Maxi Zone. Do you know what the Maxi Zone is, Vince?
No, but I would like to leave immediately.
Okay, fine. I just wanted to let you know that the Maxi Zone is muscle down ass man. That's my cheeks. You're gonna rub my old cheeks, all my cheeks up, and you're gonna make so much money. And your wife's gonna love you because you're gonna come home with a big check. Ow!
Guess we'd have to see how many dollars and zeros are in this contract for me to consider doing this.
The big bucks. Hey kids, with that being said, we have reached the end of days, and I ain't talking about I almost called him Sasha Baron Cohen. We're not talking about Baron Corbin's finish maneuver. I was about to say Sasha Baron Cohen. No, we
Sasha Baron Corbin.
There you go. Sasha.
That should be his gimmick. He should come out as Borat.
Have you seen Borat 2, by the way? On a side note,
it comes out tomorrow.
Oh, it's not out on what is it? Amazon or something like that? Prime.
Yeah.
Not really. Not my thing. The first one was alright.
Oh, I'm very excited. I'm very much looking forward to this. It's
nice.
That
MTV? You remember that MTV Awards where Sasha Baron Cohen? I think it was the movie or the music awards where he came out as an angel and he put his balls right in Eminem's face.
Yeah, that was for Bruno. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, God, funny stuff. And Eminem pretended it was all a ruse, but Eminem pretended to be like really upset. And like D12 beat the shit out of him. It was hilarious.
Yeah. I bought it. I thought that they did it, and D12 and Eminem like really lost their mind. So when they're like, "Oh no, they're a part of it," I was like, "That's surprising."
Oh, great stuff. Great stuff. Hilarious. Well, yes, kids. Yes, we're at the end. We want to thank you guys once again for joining us, episode 3, season 2 of a really great show. You guys, we're going to be having some guests this season. Me and you actually have some discussions about that, and we'll get it going. I have some ideas. So we're going to bring that to you guys. And listen, please feel free to let us know how you feel about the show. For the 2.5 people, that's one whole person and then a little person who's watching the show. Tweet us, DM us, message us, post public comments, whatever you want to do about Popcorn and Booze, and tell us what you want and what you don't want, what you like and what you don't like. Until then, we're going to continue to do the show as much as our little hearts will let us. And with that being said, I am your host, the tortilla chip eating. Look at that. See that? Little tortilla chips. Little tortilla chips. You dip it in the cheese sauce. You got nachos. The seasoned salt having, because you know, black people, we season everything, even cereal. Coke Zero. Remember I brought that up earlier? Drinking only in my booze, you guys. Sanitizer using. Remember, I told you that we're in a pandemic. This is what you do. Look at that. Dribble, dribble. Hey, bam. Rub it in. Hit it under the neck. Pie eating, as said per The Rock. Jabroni beating, as said per Dwayne Johnson. Limousine riding, rapping, tapping, host, LAREN Maxstar Moore.
And I'm speaking on behalf of Vince Eustace.
Oh, isn't that cute? What a cute fella.
Oh, Buster, he's
almost a twin. You guys should be twins.
He's not happy that I disrupted him.
Oh, well, yes, you just saw it first on Popcorn and Booze, you guys. A cat. The first ever appearance of the cat. Might be the second appearance. I don't know. But yes, you guys, we have reached season 2, episode 3 of Popcorn
and Booze.
Bye-bye. Gotta go. See you later. Episode 3. Go to episode 4. Tune in. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah. Woo!